If you've been diagnosed with MS, then you're probably going to have good days and bad days. But the real skill is making the bad days better. If you want to learn more about MS, then do subscribe. We do have videos every Tuesday. So, Brit, having MS, it's extremely unpredictable. You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. Is there anything that you do to make yourself feel better?
Good days are great, and bad days can come out of absolutely nowhere, as we know. MS is like a box of chocolates, and then you eat a coconut one, and it's just not good, and it throws the whole box off. I like to approach the bad days sort of like treat yourself days. At first, the first few months of diagnosis, I would have a bad day and I would really like beat myself up and I would kick myself for not being able to keep up with those around me, keep up with my family, my husband, my to-do list, my work schedule, and I would just beat on myself. And I know we are all really, really good at that. So I started to say to myself, you know what, this isn't being positive and this isn't contributing any good in my life right now. And I'm just making myself feel 10 times worse. So you know what? It's okay. So I had to put the cape down, or else I'm just going to fly around the room and try to clean up everybody else's messes, including mine. And it's just catastrophic.
Yeah. 110% agree with everything you've just said. So you, on bad days, there's no, like, you wouldn't try push through, or is that something that you kind of have learned from the beginning of your diagnosis?
It really depends. It depends on what exactly is on my agenda for that day. But, the beauty of working in, a background of disability advocacy and chronic illness is that everybody gets it. So if I have a meeting scheduled, or I have, a filming scheduled, or I have a deadline that I'm just not quite making because I was sick or I was in a flare up, I'm grateful and blessed to know that a lot of these companies are really genuinely understanding, which is amazing, which is totally amazing. But not setting yourself up for failure, I think, is a big keynote that a lot of us living with MS need to hit on, is because we're constantly comparing ourselves to the older version of ourselves pre-diagnosis, which operated entirely differently than how we operate now living with the condition. So I think diminishing that self-comparison is a big factor in being able to stay more present with realistic expectations of how we need to navigate through our day-to-day.
That's amazing. And even like the line of work that I'm in now, my company are very understanding, but they themselves, they're not living with the condition. So I do have that kind of, I feel like they don't fully get it, even though they're so lovely and they're so understanding. I still feel that kind of pressure that I have to keep
Right.
up. So it can be difficult, but that's amazing that you have that. So have you had any falling outs with people in terms of like having to cancel? If you have had, let's say, if you were expected to deliver something, whether it's in work, whether it's with friends, and you've had to cancel those plans because you're having, let's say, a bad day, have you had any falling out with people? Are people
Oh, yeah.
understanding?
I'm making the most ridiculous face right now because that's how ridiculous the
Oh,
reality of this is. Yes, with work, absolutely not. I make sure
okay.
to always put myself in relationships with work relationships that are healthy and understanding and professional and whatnot. But friendships, yes, they're comparing one version of Brittany
Yeah.
to the current disastrous a hot mess version of
Stop.
Brittany. So they're like, wait a minute, I don't understand how these two go together.
Yeah, yeah.
So no, I've had to be really transparent and really really honest in saying, I'm not flaking. You know that I'm not a flake. Come on. But
Yeah.
because my body feels this way, or because I have X, Y, and Z on Thursday and Friday, and today's Tuesday, and I'm
Yeah.
storing up all of my rest and my energy so I can get through Thursday and Friday, I need to bail out. And I've lost some friendships. And I take that as a blessing. And I know it sounds
Yes.
really weird because nobody wants to
No.
lose friends, but those people, if they're not truly understanding, they weren't destined to be in my path in the first place. And that's fine. That's totally
100%.
fine. It's not,
Yeah.
I have no ill feelings towards them. I hope they don't have any ill feelings towards me, but me and my MS are going to do what me and my MS need to
Yeah.
do.
If people aren't understanding of that, then they're not friends worthy of having in your life. Do you know that sort of way? So 110% agree with that. For more about MS and navigating through good days and bad days, subscribe to Lived Health for more information.